All right, still in the fish basement here. This is my 160 gallon Frontosa tank. It has other fish in it than Frontosa, but that's 160 gallons. And then underneath of it, I've got a 25 gallon sump for a filter. So this was my first foray into making a sump, and it actually has worked out pretty well. Loaded it with sponges and biological media. The water drains. I've got this tank has two drains in it, and it drains down into the sump, runs through the sponges and the media, and then gets pumped back into the tank. So these are, like I said, Frontosa, the blue and black striped fish. Try to get a little close. Sorry for all the glare. I have Frontosa in there and Denison barbs, which are the ones with the red and the yellow tail. And I have two parrot cichlids. That's a parrot cichlid right there by the log. They're an Amazon species, and the Frontosa are from Lake Tanganyika in Africa. So you're not supposed to mix them together, but I do. I don't find that it's any big deal. So the Frontosa, they'll get to be 13 to 14 inches. That's Azu right there, means fish in Swahili. He's the biggest one. He's probably about an 8 incher. Try so you don't see my reflection. I have 6 Frontosa total. The other one, big one is right there. That's Kifi. That means fish in another African language. I forget which one. But they're beautiful fish. They're super peaceful. For a cichlid, they're actually a schooling species. So they don't fight. They get along good. They consider them like the elephants of African fish. And I got some shells in there. I don't know if any. I would love for them to breed. They're not too hard to breed, but there's a couple more of them over there. They just kind of hang out in this big old tank. I've also got a pretty good sized pleco in there, which I can't see right now. And I have a really nice large spotted Synodontis catfish that's in there. Oh, they're hungry. Oh, those are the Denison barbs. Aren't those are beautiful fish, aren't they? They're in there as a dither fish. Helps the Frontosa feel comfortable. And green on the top with the red and black stripe and the yellow spots on the tail. Oh, there's the pleco. He's on the inside of the rock there. You can see him. Sorry about all the glare. But there's the pleco underneath the rock. And also down in there is the spotted catfish. I don't know if you can see his whiskers, but I can just barely catch his whiskers. There you can kind of see him. But like I said, that's the, it's not a common pleco. Those get to be like 18 inches. But it is a bigger one than the bristlenose plecos that I have mostly in the other tanks. And this is my last set of tanks I want to show you. It's on this rack. Sorry I can't zoom out more. I don't know why I can't zoom out. I've got a 20 long and a 10 on the top, a 20 long and a 10 in the middle, and then a 75 gallon here on the bottom. And what I'm most proud of this is an auto water change system. So as you can see, I have a sink. I will tell you, if you do want to have aquariums, buy a sink close by. But what it does is I tied into the cold water where it comes out and feeds the sink and runs up into that filter. That's a filter like they sell for RVs, and that's got carbon block in it. And what that does is take the chlorine out of the water, so I can automatically add water to the tank without having to do anything to it. I've had this system up and running since March. But then it goes through those triple stage filters. One removes sediment, one removes chlorine, and the other one removes some kind of particles or calcium. But it goes through and it runs through a irrigation valve, that green one. That's a valve like you would use for irrigation for your yard. And then it runs up to the ceiling, and it runs into this drip loop system that I have set up. So those are irrigation drip lines where people do drip irrigation. and that drips into the tanks. I do have it set up on, I'm sorry if I'm swinging this so fast, a timer right there, a Rainbird timer that allows me to set zones, and it allows me to set how long the water is turned on. So that's attached to that green irrigation, that's a solenoid valve. So that turns on for an hour twice a day. That little gauge there is a pressure, because household pressure is too strong for irrigation valve system. So I've got back in there, you kind of see it, the white plumbing piece with the arrow on it. That is a pressure reducer valve. So it takes your 60 plus household pressure and takes it down to 20, so that the fittings don't blow off these drip irrigations. So what it does is it drips 2 gallons an hour into the tank, and then it overflows then through a drain that I have coming down the back. You can see those thick black hoses. Those are the drains that come down to the floor behind the back of the tanks, and then come out here on the floor into a floor drain. So twice a day I'm doing water changes on these tanks automatically. It just turns on. So let's show you what I've got in here. Here I've got some Odessa barbs. They're really one of my favorite fish. That red light is the heater. Those are small. They get to be about 3 to 4 inches. And I've got 30 of them in there. I bought these about 6 weeks ago. They were supposed to go in the tank that burst upstairs, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. Then in this tank next to it, this is where I have the long fin. There you can see the long fin bristlenose pleco babies. There's a couple of them up there on the side. Mostly they hang out underneath the piece of wood. That's oak firewood. Oak is good to use in aquarium. And underneath that, I have more of the little babies, baby plecos. There's probably about 30 of them in there. Kind of hard to see because they hide. Then next to that, I have just some common platies and plants. I've got some, the ones in the pots are Amazon swords that grew off of the mother plant that I'm trying to get started, and it looks like they're going to do okay. And then I also have some Anubias and some Java Vern attached to a log in there. Then on the bottom of that rack, this is my 75 gallon, and this is also on an auto water change. This is where I put all of the fish except the 2 fire mouths that were in the tank that leaked. So the bigger ones are new, the littler ones are, I'm sorry, the bigger ones are the ones that I added, the smaller ones are the ones that were in here kind of growing out. And I've got a real myriad hodgepodge of fish in here now. I've got Congo tetras, I've got gold barbs, I've got Odessa barbs, they're the ones with the red. I've got some Congo tetras, they're the ones with the orange top kind of swimming by, and a little bit of the blue. I've got about 4 plecos in there. I've got some Cory catfish, there's shooting that there in the corner. I've got a Bolivian ram, which is that one there on the bottom. And I have 2 goldeneye cichlids. They usually also hang out by the bottom. I'm trying to see if I can't catch them. I found that with you'll see all the little pots, I find it's much easier for me to grow plants successfully in the pots in the aquarium. So what I do is I put dirt at the bottom, fill it up about 2/3 of the way with organic potting soil, soak it, put the plant in, and then cap it off with 1/3 gravel. So that way the roots are able to really feed when they're in that pot, and they grow pretty well for me that way. The Anubias, which is the plant on the sticks, that is, you don't bury the roots on that one. That's a water column feeder. It latches onto rocks and sticks. Oh, and I've got some Emperor tetras in there. They're the ones there with the black stripe. but this is a 75 gallon. I'm gonna try to pull back. It looks kind of. Oh, and my pink angelfish. I got 2 pink angelfish. There's glowfish, but I thought they looked so cool with pink angelfish, so I've got 2 of them in there. This one runs. I've got that internal filter there. I got that fake log that kind of hides the heater behind it, which makes it nice. You don't really see the heater. And then that internal filter I put in just because I added all these other fish. It's too much bio load at one time, but I didn't have anything else to do with the fish. And that all runs off that canister filter there in the back. So again, this gets a water change twice a day. You can see that little red clip back there is the drip irrigation lines that go into the tank. They'll turn on for an hour, 2 gallons, dropping the water in twice a day. So I'm changing 4 gallons of water on a 75 gallon tank. So that's like almost a 20% water change every 2 to 3 days. They say you should do that once a week, but I do it every 2 to 3 days. And then I have the sponge filter in there just in case. This tank looks really good with all these fish in it. I'll back it up. You can see. And hopefully there's not too much glare. That is my fish basement. I hope you enjoyed the little tour. Talk to you later.